Welcome to Esoteric Recaps. Jerry Manley, a photojournalist, travels to Venezuela to join the expedition team headed by Dr. James Atherton. Jerry is told to snap pictures of the creatures and surroundings. The group goes via mule, helicopter, and through the rainforest before arriving at the bottom of a massive sinkhole. Arachnologist Atherton is keen to discover new species of spiders in the sinkhole's ecosystem because it has not been altered in millions of years. The gang eventually comes upon a number of odd webs and several unidentified spiders. Atherton collects many bug species using smoke. Jerry is shocked as a large specimen that appears to be dead leaps onto his camera. Atherton reprimands Jerry for killing it, but they still have several further new species specimens to return. The local alpha male, a larger spider, hides on the men's equipment without being observed by them. Atherton analyzes the specimens back at their base camp and notes that they appear to be drones because no sexual organs can be seen on them, leading him to surmise that the spiders they have discovered are members of a hive under the direction of a leader. While waiting, Jerry takes a nap while still being contagious from his cold from earlier. Jerry loses his life when the dominant male bit him while he was sleeping. When Atherton and his men learn of it, they presume he must have passed away from his cold and build Jerry a simple wooden box to return him to his home in Canema, Northern California. The alpha guy hides in the box, oblivious to the other men. When the box is delivered to Canema, the coroners discover Jerry's body has apparently withered. After draining Jerry's body during transit, the alpha male sneaks outside, where a crow immediately takes it in its beak. The spider attacks the crow in midair after a little period of time, sending them both tumbling to the earth next to an old barn close to a farmhouse. The mansion just so happens to be the Jennings' new home after moving from San Francisco. Ross Jennings is ordered to kill a spider by his son Tommy while carrying items into the house. Ross is prevented from doing so by his arachnophobia, and his wife Molly ends up removing the spider. They take it to the barn at Shelley's urging, where it immediately encounters and mates with the Venezuelan alpha. Ross' ambitions are abruptly put on hold when the obstinate Metcalf informs Ross that he has changed his mind. Lacking a backup employment, Ross finds some solace when his next-door neighbor Margaret Collins greets him and asks him to examine her. Ross orders her to cease taking the blood pressure medicine Metcalf recommended her since he believes it is unnecessary after discovering she is in good condition. Molly, who is looking for something to do, is stumbling around looking for things to photograph with her camera. Her investigation takes her to the barn, where she discovers a lot of extraordinarily big and intricate webs. Ross resists her attempts to show him them because he is too afraid to even look. A few of the town residents get to meet the Jennings during a party Margaret throws for them later. When Jerry's mother, Henrietta Manley, becomes intoxicated and starts crying about her son who died a few months earlier, the party does go a little out of control. Molly phones Margaret the following day to thank her for the party, but she gets no response. Ross checks on her because she lives next door and discovers her on the ground, unconscious. Dr. Metcalf suggests that it was a heart attack. Metcalf accuses Ross of being responsible for Margaret's death when Ross challenges him about removing Margaret on the medication he had prescribed for her. Ross requests to undertake an autopsy, but Metcalf again refuses. When the coach of the nearby school asks Ross to administer physicals to the school football team, Ross is confused of what to do in the wake of Margaret's passing. Ross then observes the team practice in preparation for a game when one of the pupils abruptly stops mid-play and is struck by 3 teammates at once. Unnoticed by the others, a spider had entered his helmet. As one of the teammates pulled it from the player who had slumped, the spider rapidly scurried away. Ross quickly acquires the unfavorable nickname Dr. Death from various residents of the community as a result of the occurrence. Ross makes an effort to divert his attention, but when he attempts to complete the wine cellar in the basement, he discovers that the beams have rotting. They contact exterminator Delbert McClintock, after suspecting termites. He verifies after inspecting the basement that the problem is simply that their home has bad wood, which needs to be replaced. Dr. Metcalf, who continues to believe Ross is a problem, suffers an injury when a spider enters his slipper and bites his toe. Metcalf calls Ross in his final hours, but the elderly man passes away before Ross can get to him. It is presumed that Metcalf overexerted himself because he was exercising just before he passed away, but Ross and the coroner remark a bite mark on Metcalf's big toe, and his wife reports that her husband said he had been bit by something. To accurately ascertain the cause of death for Metcalf, Ross then demands that the coroner perform a toxicology report. Assuming the position of town doctor, Ross quickly fills up with patients. The coroner phones shortly after with the findings of Metcalf's investigation, noting that a trace amount of an unknown toxin was discovered in his circulation. The coroner agrees to Ross' request to exhume the bodies of the football player and Margaret so that they might be examined as well. Ross finds his daughter spending the evening at a friend's house when he gets home. The girls laugh at Ross' silliness as he tells them to run if they spot any spiders. The elder daughter sees a spider in the bathtub later that night at the Briggs house, where Ross' daughter is staying, and the father nearly gets bitten by one. Delbert is then summoned to examine the house, but he discovers nothing there. He spots a spider on the porch and tries to spray it with one of his specialized chemical treatments, but it does not seem to have much of an impact. Delbert merely steps on it out of frustration. Ross seeks for a spider expert and discovers Dr. Atherton because he believes spiders are to blame for these fatalities. The doctor wishes Atherton would come personally to help, but instead sends Chris Collins. A minor bite mark is seen on each of the exhumed bodies when Chris examines them, supporting Ross' theory. Chris eventually decides that things are bad enough to call Atherton, who shows there just as the men have discovered a live specimen. The Canema spiders lack sexual organs, just as the spiders in Venezuela, however they do have a number of poison pouches. A lab mouse that was given a very little dose of it died in a matter of seconds. One of the spiders from Venezuela is quickly inferred to have mated with the local spiders and established its own colony in the town. The wide terrain of Canema, however, lacks any natural characteristics to keep the spiders contained. When they try to contact the coroner, they discover that his phone is off the hook. When they arrive at his home, they discover that he and his wife had both been bitten to death by spiders. Following the incident, a hunt is on to find the nest. The gang discovers that the attacks took place in a radiating pattern by using a map. Ross' residence is located in the center of the pattern. Chris informs them that the alpha male and female will be guarding an egg sac in a warm location free of even their drones as Delbert rushes them to Ross' house. Delbert disagrees, claiming that Ross should not use his barn because it would be too chilly and drafty. Ross discovers to his horror that spiders have taken up residence in his house. Atherton asks the sheriff to accompany him to the family's farm after noticing Molly's peculiar webbing photographs in Ross' office. He discovers the webs in the barn along with several small dead animals. The alpha male is intended to be attracted to and captured by Atherton, but instead, it rushes out and kills him. When Ross and the others arrive at his home, they make an effort to free his family. Delbert is sent to the barn, and when Ross and Chris enter his home after him, they are attacked by several spiders that have emerged from the woodwork. All members of the family succeed in leaving, with the exception of Ross, who falls down the stairs and through the first floor's rotten wood into the cellar. He discovers the nest with its egg sac here. Ross makes an attempt to kill the queen, but instead flips it into the electrical box, where it perishes. Ross, though, is under attack by the alpha, who is now surfaced. Even after being burned, the spider bounces back and leaps at Ross, who hits it with a nail gun shot, driving the flaming spider into the nest and killing it and its young. Delbert emerges out of nowhere and carries him out of the basement's burning wreckage as he is still lying there. Finally, Ross and his family are seen returning to San Francisco, ready to rejoin society, and confident that nothing as weird as their country trip will occur there. That is, until a few earthquake shakes shake their flat. Like and subscribe for more videos and notifications. Thanks for watching.